1994, after Dave Hakopayan and Domingo Liriano left a small rock band named Soil, the remaining members, Serj Tankian, Darren Malakian, and Sheva Odanjian, met up with Antranik Kachurin, who would later be replaced with John Dolomayan, formed System of a Down. System of a Down is best known for their heavy instrumentals, politically charged songs, and sometimes strange lyrics. Many of their songs have found their ways into movies,
my four walls follow me through my past,
video games, and popular radio station. The band has released 5 studio albums and a few unofficial albums to add onto their discography. You may be familiar with some of System's more popular songs, but they have a lot more in terms of what's been played on the radio. But first, let's analyze a little bit of System of a Down style of music. System of a Down style has changed throughout each album, but they all generally have the same feel and notable similarities. Drop C guitars, Tonkian's vocals that range from a nice melodic singing to a strong, heavy, and meaningful scream or yell, amazing drum beats, and the aforementioned politically charged songs, along with the rather weird songs. System has songs that are more light and sway towards the rock side of their music, and songs that are fast, heavy, and definitely should be classified as metal, or even heavy metal. Most of the time, the heavier the song, the weirder it is. So what exactly makes them unique and worth a listen to? The best way to answer that is to look through each of their studio albums and some of their other works that are totally worth a listen.
We have the lounge. You got to be the night machine. See right now Jack is a night lover. You know?
On June 30th, 1998, System of a Down released their debut album, which is simply self-titled. This is without a doubt System's heaviest and weirdest album. Aside from that, it's a well put together album that showed the world what this Armenian-American band had to offer. Most people know Sugar and Spiders from this album, which are 2 of the lighter songs of this album. That does not disqualify them as metal songs though. This album has a lot of energy within its compact disc, and is bound to make the listener headbang while also question why Mr. Tonkian is so lyrically cynical, through the lyrics themselves and his singing style. System of a Down has more slower and quieter parts in some songs to pace itself and make the heavy sections more enjoyable and less repetitive, as to not constantly be fueled with energy and distortion to give the music some breathing room and give Tonkian time to stress some of his harmonic vocals. For a debut album, it's amazing as the production is there, not in just the audio quality, but in the nicely crafted guitar riffs and weird but meaningful lyrics. I'd say the best songs on this album are Soil, Mine, Qbert, and Pluck. Pretty much just the last 4 songs. These songs, in my opinion, give System a unique sound and are filled with so much energy. Most bands have trouble creating a memorable and decent first album, as first playing an instrument can be difficult. This isn't the case for System of a Down, because their debut album is something to listen to if you're into rock, or metal, or just want to expand your musical taste, even if it's from a popular artist.
Wait, where do we start this?
7. Up.
We're not competitive at all.
Next is Toxicity, released on September 4th, 2001. Toxicity tones down the heaviness and weirdness from their first album, but doesn't completely leave it out. Toxicity mixes many different elements of music into its songs, more than just the aspects of metal and heavy rock. It adds parts of folk and progressive rock as well. Mr. Mollican sings more in this album, and he sometimes compliments Tonkin's vocals,
All the world I've seen before me passing by. I've got
and sometimes he contrasts them, in a good way. Their vocals create a balance between the heavy and light sides of the album, as both artists use harmonic singing along with harder vocals for the metal side of things. Due to the lesser amount of weird songs, the lyrical value of this album feels smoother and more meaningful than their first album. It makes it feel more personable to the band, and they can really show their emotions and thoughts without the strange lyrics sometimes throwing listeners off. All the things that made the first album great are implemented and improved upon, such as the slower parts of songs to create a better pace and tons of energy. Everything really comes together. The guitar, bass, drums, and vocals complement each other, and nothing feels out of place. Even the traditional type of music in the interlude of Science doesn't feel out of place. The riff beforehand eases into it nicely. Some of my favorite songs are Prison Song,
They're trying to build a prison, they're trying to build a prison, they're trying to build a prison. For you and me to live in. Another prison system, another prison system, another prison system.
ATWA,
For me passing by. You don't care about how I feel, I don't feel it anymore. You don't care about how I feel, I don't.
Science,
Faith, Force, I fail, our world.
Shimmy,
Attack me, I want life. Attack me, I want out and a wife. I want to shimmy, shimmy, shimmy through the break of dawn, yeah.
Toxicity.
Conversion, software version 7.0.
Despite this album's toned-down metal vibe, the music and style is amazing, and in many ways better than the first album.
Going really well. 32 songs, doing overdubs, chopping away at them.
I think the vibe's kind of been in the studio.
It's been that of pulling a tapeworm out of our asses.
All right.
And probably System's least popular album, released on November 26, 2002, Steal This Album. For some background, in early 2002, some MP3s were released onto the internet under the title of Toxicity 2. These MP3s were just demos of songs that would later be in Steal This Album, but fans took them as finished products and were disappointed. The leaked album was called Toxicity 2 because the songs were left out of Toxicity to make sure the flow of the album worked. The album's name is a jab at the leaked songs. System was kinda saying, you already stole those songs from us, why don't you also steal these too? Steal This Album has a significantly different sound from the first album and Toxicity, but maintains enough of style from the previous albums to make sure their identity as System of a Down wasn't lost. The lyrics this time are more personable and less political, and the instruments and vocals are softer as well. It's still metal, and the weird nature is sometimes there, but not as much as the previous albums. Still, this album doesn't have any popular songs, and doesn't have any singles as far as I know. Despite that, still this album fits right into System's discography, and worth listening to for a different side of System, and just quality songs in general. I feel this album isn't as experimental as Toxicity. Still, this album does have elements other than rock and metal, but those elements are almost the same for most of the songs.
I have no reason why it should have been so plain. Have no questions, but I sure have
Toxicity has a bit more experimentation in its non-metal elements. For the most part, they're different from song to song. All in all, still this album is still a very solid album by System, and their most underrated album as well. My favorite songs were ADB,
There is no flag that is large enough to hide the shame of a man in cuffs. And just a man in the back, just a man in the back, just a man in the back. I'm just a
Intervision,
Will I have a home longing to roam?
and the Highway song.
I feel a love. You love to love the fear.
On to the two last albums, Mesmerize and Hypnotize, released on May 17, 2005 and November 22, 2005 respectively. I decided to group these two albums together because, in terms of sound, they're very similar. Pretty much anything said about Mesmerize can also be said about Hypnotize. Regardless, both these albums take all the elements of the previous albums and mixes them together to create a new sound, while also being reminiscent of older albums. Mesmerize has the more traditionally metal sound of System, almost a more modern version of their first album. Hypnotize takes the more experimental parts of previous albums, while also providing a metal base for the music to stand on. Both albums deliver in vocals. Tonkian and Malakian really show off the melody and heaviness they can bring out in their singing.
Dancing in the desert, blowing up the sun.
They have an equal mix of political and personal lyrics in both these albums. Both these albums are an experience to listen through. They connect and everything flows smoothly. Oh, and there's more weirdness this time. Not as much as their first album, or Toxicity, but it's definitely there. And, I think, works best on here as it fits with the album's name and artwork. Mesmerize and Hypnotize have all the elements of previous albums, but it doesn't feel like a rehash. They feel very unique and sometimes fitting considering these would be the last albums created by System of a Down. It's almost like a homage. My favorite songs would be Radio/Video,
They take me away from
Lost in Hollywood,
all you bitches. Put your hands in the air and wave them like you just don't care.
Hypnotize,
I'm just sitting in my car and waiting for my sheet.
and Feeling Society.
Skies, watching it all fading to skies, living it all.
Now, let's analyze some of System's other work that never made it into official albums. The most popular of these is probably Storage Melodies. Storage Melodies is an unofficial album / bootlegs of rarities, songs that System collabed in, and demos. Rarities include bonus songs from the Japanese edition of the first album, B-sides from Toxicity, and color versions of Toxicity, movie soundtracks, and tribute albums. The featuring section includes songs from other artists that feature System of a Down, and they're not just metal songs, there's 2 hip-hop songs in there. Demos are demos that were never made into polished studio songs. What a surprise.
Wishing and wishing away at you, God.
It's hard to describe this album's sound as it ranges from genres, and some songs were made before System released their first album. Just a side note, since Storage Melodies is an unofficial album, it won't appear on streaming services. You can still find these songs under their original releases, or from the other artists that had the song on their album. Just some fun facts, Steal This Album has 5 different cover albums, the original white CD, along with custom designs made by the band members themselves. The cover art for System's first album is inspired by the anti-fascist John Heartfield. And I must mention, System has made many attempts at bringing light onto the Armenian genocide, as Tonkian's grandfather told him stories of the genocide and did not want the world to forget the event.
Comes through my grandparents and the stories that they've told and how they've survived and the atrocious things that have happened in their lives and
This could be heard in their songs Pluck and Holy Mountains. In 2006, System of a Down announced they would be going on a hiatus and weren't sure when they would come back. One of the main reasons being Tonkian and Malakian having creative differences. In 2016, System of a Down announced they were making new music, but weren't sure when they were going to release a new album. It's unlikely new music from System of a Down will come up, as Tonkian and Malakian still have creative differences. Even the drummer is unsure if System of a Down should continue making music. In conclusion, System of a Down made a name for themselves through their unique and sometimes strange style that all comes together to create energetic and melodic songs. They speak their minds and weren't afraid to play around with their style. All 5 albums are great and are worth a listen to from start to finish. Even their rare stuff is decent. Really, there isn't much bad to say about System of a Down. Here's a flowchart to help some of you ease to their music, as some of it may be too weird for some. And with that, I cue the music.
You are you. Sweet berries ready for you. Ghosts are no different than you. Ghosts are now waiting for you. Are you dreaming?